Hello everyone, and welcome to the TheStrategySmith Live. So by popular demand through the polls I've been putting out on Facebook and on LinkedIn, you all want to understand a bit more around business growth strategies. Now, one thing that resonates with me is receiving that consultant's report and it landing on your desk. If you're the CEO or you're the business owner and you wanted to make a change, or you know that you need to do something, and that report is either still there or it's in a bookshelf somewhere because you haven't had the time to decipher it. When you have had a look at it, maybe there are some areas that you know that you might not understand and don't fully understand how to implement the changes that someone has provided you with too much detailed information. Or you're an entrepreneur and you know that you want to deliver some new kind of business and you want to get creative, or you're a business owner that wants to grow exponentially, whether organically or inorganically, etc. So I'm going to give you some of my tools that I use when I'm going into a business, whether I'm going in cold, confronted with that consultant's report, whether I need to start from scratch to work with a business owner or work with board critical assignments to understand what needs to happen, why and when, and also working with startups and entrepreneurs to grow their business exponentially, secure funding, for example, grow inorganically and making acquisitions, trying to unpick all of that to make sure that you're able to decipher exactly what needs to happen and why in your business to enable growth. So the TheStrategySmith mantra is see, enable, and embed. And that's what we're going to follow for this live as well. So you'll see it on all of my logos. See, enable, embed. Now, to put that simply, what essentially needs to happen is, that's so you all can see it. There you go. See, enable, and embed. So what I like to use is when I'm going into a new assignment or I've been given something to deliver, I like to act, first of all, with the C element, with speed. So I want to know exactly what's happening and why. How could this be delivered? Essentially, when does it need to be delivered for? But also, the key critical element for C is understanding the why, as to why things need to happen. And that needs to be done with speed. Now, the enable element is when you understand the key success factors of a growth initiative, how can you then enable that within your business? Now, you've acted very quickly. This is what I call front loading. And also, you now are able to take time to understand what needs to happen, why, and when. So, enable, I like to act with timing and precision. To forgive my spelling. And then embed, to make these things initiatives sustainable with power. Now, you've heard these analogies, and this isn't wanting to sound macho or anything, but timing and precision will beat speed and power every single time. But when you're able to combine them in a sequence, you're able to essentially have something not only that you can act quickly on, not only that you'll be able to act calmly with timing and precision on, but you'll be able to embed it so it's sustainable growth within your business. So C is the understanding the why and the key success factors, starting with the end in sight. Enable, what needs to happen, why, how is it going to happen, who needs to be involved, when do these things need to be delivered, essentially creating your key success factors, and also an element of putting these initiatives into some form of organized structure? And then how can you embed that within your business so that you are able to sustain that growth, which gives you essentially more power? Okay, so let's have a look at the wider aspects as to what a business will face when they're going to grow. Now, I can see that the live is glitching, so I'm going to have to turn off one of these lives because I'm going live on TikTok, and then the main stream is going out to Facebook, LinkedIn, and this should speed things up for the live stream. Apologies for this, because I can just see myself glitching. I didn't want to get through the full 30 minutes, and I'll do a quick recap as well. Okay. So while that's just sorting itself out, C, starting with the end in sight, understanding the key success factors. You can do that very quickly with the structure I'm going to show you. Enable, put these initiatives, product development, service development into practice, how you can get them organized. There we go. Perfect. And then how can you embed them so it's sustainable growth within your business? All right. Now, in order to understand the why, you'll have a feeling as to something needs to happen. Either you've been given this consultant report, or you're facing some challenges in your own industry and in your own business. Now, the toolkit and the acronym that I use is starting with the why. I like to use a direct to growth approach. Now, direct stands for the dynamics of the industry. So what are you facing in your current industry? Is there technology that needs to be taken into account for you to be able to optimize your overheads, for example? Are there legislative changes happening that are changing the dynamics of your industry? Do you therefore need to retrain your people to be able to deliver these new services that the policy demands, for example? Other examples of dynamics of industry or industry dynamics is there could be legal changes, there could be changes to the way that you deliver your service, there could be new innovative practices that are starting to compete with the products and services that you are starting to, that you have been delivering. R stands for risk. So what risks are you facing in your business? And when I talk about risk, I talk about risk and opportunities as well. So in terms of risk, there could be elements to an entry barrier could have been lowered, for example. A new form of technology, going back to the dynamics of the industry, could have been introduced that lowers the barrier of entry for your competitors. There could be a threat of substitutes in your industry. So you're able to, your competitors are delivering complementary services on top of their services and are generating more sales. There could be risk to reform in the industry as well. So, and that's also an opportunity. So you're able to acquire more high value people, but also there's an element of risk into your business that you might need to look at in terms of your workforce, and also things like pensions and things like that. So all of these areas with regards to dynamics in the industry present risk and opportunities to your business. And these will be the triggers that will highlight when, why, what, how you need to make some changes in order to put in place your growth strategy. E stands for ethics. So CSR, are you currently delivering an ethical service? Is there a new legislative policy that is going to impact your business? Is there a way that you can capitalize on your products and services that demonstrate there are much more ethical provision into the industry? For example, there's a big social housing crisis in the industry, and that's an ethical solution for you to be part of, to fund part of that crisis, to house people who are in need of social homes. Is there an opportunity in the healthcare industry, whether private or in the NHS, that you're able to serve your customers in a much more ethical way? Are there changes that demand ethical practices in the way that you're delivering manufacturing services in terms of your workforce, etc.? So ethics, corporate social responsibility, how you work with your people can play a part into why you want to change or need to make a change, but also with a view to growing your business. There's always an opportunity to put in place something that will increase sales, optimize your cost of sales, optimize your expenses, and increase your profit. C is the most important one. I want to put it first, but it doesn't spell direct. C is the customer. You have to ask your customers, not as blunt as this, but you have to ask, why do they take money out of their pocket and put it in your pocket? So why do they buy that product? Why do they seek out that service? Why do they seek out that service and go to one place or another? You will all have, in every single business, you will all have customers and consumers. That will be your biggest and most valuable data source to understand the specific changes that you need to make, could make to increase your growth, and in other cases have to make to maintain the sustainability of your business model and also the sustainable growth that you embed moving forward. So C stands for customer. So direct to growth, don't forget the C. T stands for technology. So, for example, AI is booming now. Also, I've seen things like virtual reality headsets coming into play for all kinds of applications from industry to industry. So how can you optimize and capitalize on technology? Do you need to invest in a new technology asset in your business? Do you need to retrain people? Do you need to bring people in of a certain specialism? Do you need to start a joint venture with someone who's found their niche in the technology aspect of the way that you deliver your business? Do you need to go out and buy a business to, one, eliminate competition, and or two, increase the service or product offering that you're delivering? So, for example, you go to your customer, you understand the dynamics of the industry. Let's say post-COVID, people want to stay in their homes. And, for example, going to the dentist, these aren't happiness products. I love my dentist, but I don't like going to the dentist. So if, for example, the dynamics of the industry is telling us that our patients want to stay at home, there's a level of risk that they're never going to come in when they've got an appointment. So I'm not going to get any revenue. I'm not going to make any sales if these guys aren't coming in. Ethically, I want to make sure that these guys have got nice teeth and aren't in any pain. So I want to have some form of outreach that will demonstrate to them that I'm here to be able to ensure that my customer sees the value, and therefore a differentiator for them to take money out of their pocket, not go private or not go to Mr. or Mrs. Dentist B, my competitor, or at least come to my practice because I've shown them the value that we add. And then all of this will be told to you by your customers. You simply need to find a way of asking. And that could be a project in itself. Then technology, imagine if your patients could put on a headset or be shown a visual video without having to leave their homes, what their teeth would look like based on previous x-rays, if they were able to see their perfect smile. What if they go for an appointment and you're able to put a headset on them and they can see and smile themselves, and they can then see a perfect, beautiful smile looking back at them as though they were looking in a mirror with their own new, beautiful smile. Just as an example, AI is playing a massive role in interaction with customers. It's playing a massive role with algorithms, with calculating things that people themselves would take an army to calculate. But important things with AI and tech, there's always a human on the other end. It's the algorithm that's created by people and the machine learning that's created that AI gets its real power from. And then growth. So you've understood the dynamics of the industry. There's an element of risk. There's some ethics that you need to satisfy. You've gone out and spoken to your customers to determine customer value, and there will be some key value drivers as to why your customers still come to you or why they go to somewhere else. You've embraced technology or understood the impact and level of risk that technology could pose, and then you direct to growth. So now you're ready to take some form of action. But you may think the way to go is we need a new technology product because our customers are saying that product will be dynamite. Or if, for example, I come to you because your service is magnificent. So you want to leverage technology to optimize things happening in your business, but maintain perhaps the human factor so that your people have more time to spend with customers, so the customers continue to see the value and ideally increased value for you to hit your growth targets. So you can put a technology solution in place as an example to make sure your people have more time with the customer. It's ethical because no one's lost their job through technology. They've managed to spend more time with the customer and grow the business. You've eliminated the risk of technology because you know that the human factor in this example is more important, but you've leveraged technology to give your people time back. And because of all of this, you've understood the dynamics of the industry. People want to stay at home, but they still want to have that level of human interaction. So how do you put in place a product change or a service change? If you're a service business, you need to decide whether you sell in volume or you sell in something that's very niche. If you're a product business, again, do you sell in volume or do you sell in something that's very niche? Do you currently do one or the other, and you wanting to do one or the other? So you're currently doing something very niche, but you want to go out and expand the market. Let's take another analogy of maybe a car salesman. They provide a service to sell cars, but they also sell products. Why do people buy cars? Well, they like to drive them. In my opinion, they like to go to a showroom and have that level of interaction. But I know some people that don't necessarily want to go to a car showroom, but they still value that human interaction. So for a car salesman or a car selling business, they need to find a way to leverage technology so that people can understand the product, but also still get the value from the service. A colleague of mine is actually a dental technician. So going back to the dentist analogy, he sells unbelievable products. And he's very niche in terms of the product that he sells, but he's actually found a way of delivering a product that still remains high quality and in its niche to a mass or a larger market. And that brings me to the service and product analogy. If you're a service provider, in my opinion, you need to be able to decipher between Walmart and Gucci. So if you're a service provider, do people come to you because they get lots of services that are commoditized for a reasonable price? Or do they come to you for a specific service that they can't get anywhere else, which they're happy to pay money for? It's very similar to product. You sell lots of products that people go to, and the people know that they buy a package from you that again is commoditized on price, but you're still able to get the value and they can still see the value? Or do you sell one single product at a high value, high price? And these are decisions that you'll make in terms of your growth strategy. Always, always, always ask. Going back to the why. Where's the value in this? And I'll give you another framework to determine the value of a change that you're making in a service or a product. So there's another acronym, and I've actually done a previous live on this, and the acronym is BRIO. I'm going to change pens. So BRIO stands for the question of value. Where's the value in delivering this change or product, a change in service or product? Now, you can think of value always in terms of the commercial value to your business. It's very important to think like that. And what I will say that the longer term, not too long, so 5 years, 3 to 5 years, the longer term that you think, the more sustainable that growth will be when you get the value question right. So let's have a look at value for a second. Let's concentrate on the V for a second. So if you think of a P&L, a profit loss statement, you obviously have sales and you have cost of sales, which gives you your gross profit. Okay. You then have expenses. Okay. So these are minus, these are minus. This then gives you your earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. Then you have your depreciation. This then gives you your profit before tax. So this is a good figure. This is a good figure. Profit before tax is a good figure. Then tax comes off, which gives you sorry. 2 seconds. Just write that down. Earnings before interest and tax. That's a good figure. Then you have your interest. Then you have your profit before tax. Then you have your tax. Then you have profit to the firm. Okay. So this is your profit and loss. And you can pause this and take a look at it and go back, because I need to look this up again through the video. So in terms of value, if your initiative doesn't increase sales, if it doesn't optimize cost, which increases your gross profit, if it doesn't optimize your expenses, which increases your EBITDA, which in turn will increase your EBIT, then there's no value in the change. And you always have to ask, why are we doing this? Do we want to increase sales? Do we want to optimize cost? Do we want to increase our gross profit? So do we need to sell things at a higher value and optimize our cost of sales? Do we want to limit our overheads and our expenses, which will increase our EBITDA? Now, if the answer in the V is no to sales, is no to increasing GP or EBITDA, which in turn will increase your EBIT, profit before tax, and profit to the firm, so the shareholders when they get their money, then there's no value in it. So you have to say this is a business growth strategy. Where is the growth? Where's the value in what we're doing? Next one in BRIO is the question of rarity. So rarity means who else is doing it? Is what we're doing rare? Are you able to go and find this elsewhere? Is there a threat of substitutes, or is there a threat of new entrants? Can someone else come in and just copy us? is the product one of a kind? And, the question of rarity can be proven by some really good market analysis, but also it can be proven through your customer data also. I is the question of imitability. So can it be copied? Is it protected through patents and intellectual property? And O is operationalized or organized. Can you organize the change? Can it be put into practice? Maintaining the value, maintaining its rarity, protected by its patents and its imitability. Can it be operationalized? This will then give you a why to the why. So you know what, why, and when needs to change. This will give you a key success factor. This is what needs to happen. If you're going to make a change to deliver enhanced technology, increase customer value, ethically, with mitigating risk to respond to dynamics of the industry, to meet growth targets, where's the value in it? Is it rare? Can it be copied? And can we do it again, do it again, do it again? Pharma is a good example of that, pharma industry. So their product development cycle, there's immense amount of value, investment that goes into it. And all the while, they're focusing on the value and operationalize, but in pharma, they've got value and operations and organization down through quality management, through Lean Six Sigma, through FMCG practices, GMP practices. The R and the I is where pharma, for example, is delivering the most value, because they need to make sure that it's one of a kind and no one else can copy it. So once a product has passed all of its tests, they already know the V and the O. But how can they then protect that so they can reset? Okay. They're defined key success factors. So you know what change you need to make. If it's a product development, change in service delivery, organic growth target, which will form part of your V, key success factor. We want to hit this revenue target in 3 years. We want to increase our gross profit to this number, this percentage in 3 to 5 years. We want to double or triple our EBITDA in 5 years' time. So those are your key success factors. And you know that unless you're delivering on those, there's no value in the change that you're making. And that's why it's called a strategic growth change, growth strategy. So you've got your key success factors, and they're the why to the why. So why are we making this change? Well, we talked to our customers and they've told us that this is what value is. We know the dynamics of the industry. We know that there's a level of risk. We know we need to do it ethically. We need to embrace technology, and therefore we need to put this plan into play to grow. Key success factors. These are our budget, our targets. These are our clients in terms of our pipeline, perhaps, if you're a B2B business. And then what you're able to do is think about organic growth, but also inorganic growth. So you might already be market leading in your industry. You will be soaring in terms of your sales. You'll be competitive in terms of your profit. You might be market leading in terms of your EBITDA. You're a good value, good valuable business. And so the next step might be to bottle what you have. If you think of the analogy of a tree, you've got this beautiful oak tree. I want to grow another beautiful oak tree organically elsewhere. Or I want my oak tree to grow more arms, more branches and leaves. And so you can think of bolt-on businesses to make your current oak tree larger. Or you can take current best practice validated through the VRIO framework to take a cutting of your beautiful oak tree, or even an acorn, to move to another country, another region, because you've studied the dynamics of the industry there. You know there's a risk or opportunity there. You know that you're able to deliver things ethically there. You know the customer base, because maybe your customers have said, we'd love a practice like you in Manchester, or you've gone to Manchester or another city, or you've gone to another country, and you've assessed the customer base and the demographics of the customer base there. That's organic growth. And then you move either a cutting, a large piece, or an acorn to grow another beautiful oak tree. That's organic growth, and now you have two. Inorganic growth is that you again may have this beautiful oak tree, but you don't want to take a cutting from your current business, or even take an acorn from your current business. You might see that there's impact to your current business if you grow organically in that way. So you go out shopping and find another beautiful oak tree that's very similar to yours ideally, or it might be something that complements yours and makes your oak tree much larger, and you're able to add value to it, and it brings value to you. So you're able to look at the strategic element, financial elements, or value, where's the value in this, and also, most importantly, socio-cultural element of bringing those two businesses together. That's inorganic growth. So you've got your key success factors, so still maintaining the C. Enable, you can then decide whether you want organic or inorganic. And then how do you embed that decision making into your business? You now have a project. You've got key success factors. You've got the why for the why validated through data by your customers, who validated the dynamics in the industry, who've validated the opportunity in the industry. You know that you can deliver your services ethically because the other most powerful data source you've got is your own people. Your own people will tell you very quickly whether this is a sustainable change in your business through robust comms, through following policy if necessary. Your own people will tell you that this is a valuable change also. You've asked the customer, you've embraced technology, and you've grown. So you've got a project now. So to embed the growth, I don't care if you're at C-suite level, at workforce level, in the field, the project management office is such an invaluable tool to any business change, whether it's a mergers and acquisitions, whether it's a change in service, a change in process, you're going through some form of optimization in your manufacturing facility, whether you are adopting a small change, a training or a quality management process that you need to follow in your medical practice. Project management office isn't there to labor the people delivering the project. It's there to give them a structure, to follow a procedure of communications from the leadership and the decision makers, and delivering a line of sight from the decision makers to the people delivering the service, the decision makers to the people delivering the service, and back again, so that people know who's making the decisions, why these decisions are being made, when the decisions are going to be made, who is going to make the decisions, and who's going to deliver the projects. Where's the value? What's the why? And what's the why for the why? Because you will get those questions. Yeah, I can see we need to increase sales, but we're doing really well. Yeah, but if we don't get ahead of the market, with this new product, someone else is going to beat us to it. You don't need to say, well, I follow this formula, I follow this. You just need to have the answers in your head, but this will give you a framework to have the answers. The best thing about a good project management office is, guess what you can use that for? When you've taken into account customer data, your workforce data, you've gone through your key success factors, you've understood whether you've grown organically or inorganically. Your project management office is a record of your success as well. So maybe you've got a project management office in place for the first year. You're assessing your targets that you've put in place and your key success factors. Are we growing? Have we found that business, and have we engaged them, and have we done some due diligence to assess whether, if we do acquire them, what will the impact be to us? And that's a good important point as well when you go in for inorganic growth, is it needs to be accretive and not impactful. So if you look at my article that looks at the parenting matrix, it analyzes businesses to assess whether you can add value without taking away value. And a good example of that is if you buy a business that's at 50 million, for example, and 10% EBITDA, your business could be 40 million, but you're at 15% EBITDA. If you buy that other business, that's going to reduce your EBITDA, because 10% plus 15%, 25, yeah? So your 15 has now gone to 12.5% EBITDA. So you've diluted your margins. So you need to go back to, where's the value in this? If it's increased sales, then think of the parenting matrix for inorganic growth, because you will then go to a point where you need to ensure that your margins are still accretive. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, but cash is the monarchy. Cash is the bit at the bottom, goes into the shareholders. So you've got your project management office. Now you've got a framework that you've delivered yourself, or your business has delivered, and you can now do it again, do it again, do it again. You know that it adds value, you know that it's rare, you know that no one can copy it, and you know you can organize it because you just delivered it. So after a year, you're able to assess your key targets. And that's a version of a business growth strategy. Decipher the dynamics of the industry, understand the risks and opportunities, appreciate ethics, talk to your customers, embrace technology, growth. Always ask, where's the value in this? You know, why are we doing this? The value, think of your profit and loss, but further on, not in year, I'm talking 3 to 5 years. Does it increase sales without impacting too much cost of sales, without impacting too much expenses? And if it's inorganic, will it give us accretive margins? And similarly, are we acquiring something with a higher EBITDA, but a higher SG&A or expense, or a higher operational cost? Then you're able to look at synergies and optimizations. I think that's another webinar. So those are the questions of value. Is it rare, inimitable, and can it be organized and operationalized? Forming your key success factors. Through your budget as to how quickly you want to grow in terms of revenue and profit. Can you do it organically? Can you do it inorganically? So if it's product development, you're likely to look for organic growth. But similarly, if there's another competitor that delivers a product that's outpacing yours, there might be an opportunity to merge or acquire them. Similarly with services. Is there a market that you're not in and you want to accelerate your presence in that market penetration? There's a competitor that's already delivering that market, these services. So you can start to think in terms of acquisitions there. Once you've made these decisions, because you've acted with timing and precision, the power for embed is much more sustainable and more embedded essentially into your organization. So that's business growth strategies from the top. I think I'll cover this again in another live webinar, because I've spent a lot of time talking through the business growth strategies. But this is just a snapshot of the toolkit within the TheStrategySmith box. See, enable, embed will always take precedent as well. That's my mantra. I will always front load with speed, act with time and precision, and then embed sustainable growth within the business. And these are some frameworks that you can use in your business. I think I've talked quite a lot, so I'm going to go now, and by all means, please send me through any questions. You can find the video on LinkedIn, YouTube, on Facebook, and if you watch these live, you will always be able to find them on Facebook, on YouTube as well as LinkedIn.